morning, Patriots. It's a great day in the USA, and welcome to Wake Up Patriots. And we're all waking up. I hope you have your coffee. I have mine, something like my third or fourth cup. I lose track because I've been up since doing Newsmax at 6:30. Wake Up America early, which I did, and it was a good hit. We talked about things regarding Ukraine and all the stuff in Israel and the new drug war, the war on drugs. And it's a good thing. So get up early with us. If you don't, you should. And someone else who was up early, but I'm not sure if he was up as early as I was, is Chris Cordani. Good morning, Chris.
That's right. Looks like that Venezuelan ship got hit with a bigger bomb than the theaters were with Snow White.
Yeah, it was a bigger bomb than Rosie O'Donnell's last movie. So yeah.
Well, when was her last movie? Wasn't that still? No, it was Richie Rich, wasn't it?
It was horrible, whatever it was.
Richie Rich wasn't so bad. I mean, she played Gloria's mom. That's when she wasn't as annoying.
I don't know about that. I'll leave that to the New Yorkers or others to judge. I don't know. But anyway, we've also got another guest this morning, right?
Yes, we do.
Booker Scott.
Very cool guy.
Good morning, Booker.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Good morning. He'll be doing all the great voiceover stuff for us this morning. He'll he's like the movie voice guy now.
In a world where Tony Shaffer runs things.
In a world where Arnold Schwarzenegger looks like Rosie O'Donnell.
Hey, Chris, I can't remember when Rosie O'Donnell was ever in a good movie.
A League of Their Own was
I
not
have
a
to push
bad
back.
Movie. No,
maybe not. Yeah, it was a good movie. Yeah,
well, I liked it. And a lot of good people in it, like what's her name? The chick who played Sharona on Monk. She's pretty cool.
My Sharona? Isn't that a song? My Sharona?
My Sharona.
By the Knack, wasn't it?
That's right.
Or My Bologna by Weird Al Yankovic. One of his.
Which is a good song. Hey, do you know Weird Al? We should have him on sometime. He's a good guy. I like him.
We should get him on. That would be fun. I used to love doing parodies myself when I was younger. I actually wrote a couple of fairly good hit parodies, like Middletown to the tune of Funky Town. I also did cool. What was it? The Safety Pup Dance. I don't remember if any of you know, or any of you remember going to high school or elementary school or junior high and seeing on the side of your milk box this thing called Safety Pup. We always gave us little hints, like never go with strangers.
Huh.
That might have been a regional thing. I don't remember that.
I don't know. Patriots, you ever hear of Safety Pup? It was on the side of the milk carton. So I wrote the Safety Pup Dance. I'm trying to find Safety Pup. Let's say, the Safety Pup Dance. That was actually pretty good. But I did a bunch of those things. Walk Like a Libyan was one of my favorites. That's after the bombing, or the Reagan bombing.
No, I like that. That's a good one.
Yes,
I could get behind that.
Maybe I should get back to writing parodies again for the show for Wake Up Patriots, because they're fun. Yeah. The problem is today's songs
we need to still do. We still need to do Tarmac too.
Yes, we do Tarmac. We should do some parodies. Got to bring the old here is Safety Pup, by the way. If anybody remembers Safety Pup, I'm trying to remember that. See, and we're going to the silly stuff already in the morning here. But I love doing the pop culture. So you don't remember that. You always had this good advice for kids, Safety Pup.
No.
The problem was
that must have been a regional thing. Of course, I went to high school in Lisbon, so we didn't have pups. We had vodka chasers in the morning at my school, which is I'm not joking about because there was no drinking age, so we drink like, go to the village, not the village of the prisoner fame, but we had a little village we'd go to and drink like beer and stuff in 11th grade. It was great.
Are you saying you were one of the village people?
Pretty much. If you're like 15 and drunk, you're pretty much a village person. Just saying. You're just kind of wandering around.
There was one particular milk carton that's what inspired the song, where he covered up his front. The front usually says Safety Pup Health Aids or Safety Pup something AIDS. And when his arm covered the second word, it actually looked like it said Safety Pup with AIDS. So that's why it was pretty classic. Anyway, let's go to the Hissy Fit edition. Did you get to see Cornell West on Piers Morgan yesterday or the other day?
I missed this, but let's talk about it.
Yes. the left is in a tizzy over another lefty shooter, and they've been trying as hard as they can to spin it to the right. I have again the usual meme makers like Occupy Democrats are trying to convince their sheep that way. Uh, it's a mess, but they're just pushing it. The minions are going
It's
out.
literally nuts.
Right.
It's literally nuts.
Right. And then Cornel West gets mad because Piers Morgan invites people on to talk about this. And I guess he took a lot of offense. It was really weird, this guy. Want to watch that, or what do you think here? Let's check it out.
I don't want to see you dead. I'm a Christian.
You called Trump's administration a neo-fascist movement, you lunatic. You people have gone out
You're
of your
absolutely
way.
right.
You have gone out of your way.
Wait, is this the clip with Don King, or is it with Cornel West?
Do everything
Let me
possible
make
to
the
cultivate
case.
this.
Let me make the case.
Oh, yeah,
Will you
just
allow
made
me to
your
speak,
case.
brother? Come
You
on,
just
man.
made your
Come on.
case.
No. You haven't made the case. If you think I've made the case, then you're not understanding dialogue.
You just said this brother over here said this.
You're very, very
called him
different than brother Charlie, man.
neo-fascist. That's
You're
what
very
called
different
him,
than Charlie, though, man.
neo-fascist.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I can
it's
make the
rhetoric
case
due
for
to
that,
people
too.
like you that got that man killed, sir.
No. There
Yes,
are such a thing as neo-fascists. But Pierce, why
Here's
you have a
going on.
brother
Let's
on
continue.
Jack Versovic's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Say my prayers for Sister
friend
Erica
Jack.
and the kids, because this brother wants to trash my Christian sensibility, and look at him laughing now.
Yes.
It's a joke, man.
He's not
Here,
Christian.
It's not worth
He's
it.
not Christian.
The
Is
dialogue
Charlie
not worth
Kirk
it.
part
Not
of the
with this
not
brother.
neo-fascist
Not
movement?
with this
Is he
brother.
part of your
This one.
neo-fascist
Not with
movement?
this brother.
Yeah.
When
Run
Charlie
away. Run away.
himself says
Yeah,
that
leave.
he is against
Please.
Civil Rights Act, does that make him a proponent of Jim Crow when he calls Martin Luther King?
I'd actually rather watch Anna Kasparian do that with the. Never mind, but that's another story.
Well, I mean,
Junior,
first off, why does he always
I wanna
dress
see
like
his
an
breasts.
undertaker? He always dresses like an undertaker. He does.
He
It's like,
does. Yeah.
Would you like some lilies as part of the service, sir?
And he looks like a boxing promoter in any other way. So I don't know, an old boxing promoter. So yeah.
Hey, Chris, I got how many meals do you think he can store in his beard? Like can he have like a 5-day supply of food? that he
Well, why
kinda
do you-
hide in there?
Why do you think JB Pritzker puts him in his entourage?
There you go. That's an important resource, especially if you run out of all-you-can-eat buffets. That's important. So, first off, Booker, I've watched this both. I've watched this from 3 levels. I've watched this as an intelligence professional regarding the wackadoodle, mind-boggling messaging, this Goebbels level, like, oh no, he's one of yours, from the law enforcement perspective of why haven't we seen the kid with the gun once in the video anywhere? Like you say, he DNA's on it. Okay. Why isn't he dropping it off the building if it was found in the woods? A lot of stuff. It's not making sense. So that's one aspect. And I think that the most important aspect for us is just the fact that there has to be some level of someone taking the place of Charlie in that leadership role that he started. But let's start with the propaganda, like Chris wanted to do with this guy, with Booker T. Washington. Is that his name? What's his name?
Cornel East.
Cornel Washington. That's right.
Cornel.
Sorry.
Don. We'll call him Don King.
Don King. There we go. The troll, the eraser troll.
So
a name. It's crazy what they're doing. But I think that we have collectively pushed back enough that the truth is getting out. People understand that. But to your point that you just brought up a minute ago, it's been on my mind since they released the video of him, jumping off the roof. Where was the gun? There's the video that I saw with him walking down the street with a limp. And I guess they're saying that the gun was in his leg then. Where did it go? If he put it together with a screwdriver, which they say there's DNA on the screwdriver, why didn't he put it in his backpack to go up there to begin with, instead of walking with a limp down the street? There's so many things that I think leave questions, as an investigator, you would have to ask. And I don't know where all this is going.
Well, one of these is, and the question of the difficulty of the shot, which is valid. So I've heard, and I personally don't have a Mauser. I don't have I use high power weapons. That's not one. With that said, a weapon like that to be set up to make a shot with that level of precision, have to get within an MOA. You have a certain expectation of where the bullet's going to go with a certain bullet, with the grain of the bullet, the amount of distance, obviously, and of course, state of the barrel. So one of the notable things I've seen talked about that I've not seen the mainstream talk about at all is the fact that this was a cold barrel shot. And that means something, especially to hunters. Like hunters, you get out there, you have a weapon lined up, and this shot, theoretically, hunters can make this shot and against deer, from deer stands in the woods, 100, 200, 300 yards, not impossible, but not easy. This is not I pick up a gun, I put a scope on it, and I go shoot. The scope has to be mounted appropriately and zeroed. That is to say, the scope must be zeroed to where that bullet's going to go. And the bullet coming out of a cold barrel, that is to say, one that's not been shot for a while, versus a warm barrel, means the accuracy is going to be different. So this kid had to understand, which I'm still skeptical he would have, that a cold barrel shot would have been different than a warm barrel shot. Just saying, that's one thing. And then, of course, on the law enforcement side, why was there no drones? I work for Sheriff Dave Decatur, and I always talk about this, Dave Decatur in Stafford County, Virginia, just south of Quantico. If you go on 95, going north on the interstate there, you go through his county, the traffic's always bad. Not David's fault, just saying, but it's always bad. Anyway, he's got a drone unit that has high drones, medium drones, drones which go in buildings. And that's a common feature of law enforcement and security. So why a single drone doing Overwatch would have seen a kid on a roof with a gun? So, Booker, what do you make of these kind of obvious flaws that nobody's explained how it happened?
Well, I think you have to ask Turning Point USA what their security detail was like. I haven't seen anything about that. I know that there
Why haven't we?
Was.
I think they should.
I don't know.
Wouldn't you think that the security detail should be out explaining what happened from their perspective? I haven't seen a single person, not one.
Well, have you seen the video of the guy behind Charlie giving the hand signals?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's
one
interesting.
Of the security guys. He's
That's what they say.
A close friend of Charlie. Yeah.
Yeah. So
why have we heard from them? Wouldn't you think
signaling?
that guy would be front and center, Johnny on the spot, talking about what happened? I would.
I would think so. Unless the FBI told them not to, maybe you would know whether they would pass on that information to those guys. I wouldn't.
The FBI is not going to interfere with anything that's outside the scope of specific leads that they're trying to follow up. I don't think. I don't know, Booker. Do you think like baseball signals behind Charlie is it's like they're right there.
Yeah.
And then there's the other guy, the black the guy right there.
Now the guy in the black I saw later, I think he was helping Charlie into a car. But the guy in the white, the interesting part, watch how he turns the phone to Charlie just before the shots and then back out front. Have you paid attention to that? I thought it was really important.
Yeah. That is interesting.
The way he changed direction of it for just a second, almost like it's FaceTime to someone that was on the other end, maybe with a gun, maybe the shooter.
So here's
that's part of the theory right now. Is there's a larger network that's been alluded to by Cash and by Dan Bongino. So,
well, check this out, and that leads to another question. A 22-year-old kid, I don't care if his father trained him as a teenager to shoot better. A 22-year-old kid supposedly is able to make that shot. And the people behind Charlie Kirk possibly giving hand signals, they're not afraid that the bullet could miss. I think about that. This has to be something going on. And there's also that theory that Tyler Robinson was a patsy, or at least somebody who will take we'll just say, credit for what happened.
I want to go back to something Tony said a few minutes ago about the scope.
Yeah, I'm not beyond thinking that either.
Yeah.
About the scope. You can't just mount a scope and hit a shot like that. I used to deer hunt. I hunted with a 30-06. I could hit 150 to 200 yards. If I was going for the heart, I might miss 5 or 6 inches, which makes me wonder, was he going for a headshot and missed?
Booker, exactly. You're talking exactly about my point. Yeah.
So how do you put a scope back on a gun that's been down your pant leg, and assuming that the scope was on it for a minute, how's it even not going to be knocked out of an adjustment? You would still have to sight that scope in to be able to hit that shot from 200 yards, I would think.
Right.
I don't think he was just drawing a bead on it. He had to have a scope for that shot.
No, I don't think people understand how far this was about, 180, I think is what
200 yards is what I've heard, yeah.
Mm-hmm. 180, 200 yards, that's a long way. That's 2 football fields.
Correct.
And so, you need to be a skilled sniper for that one.
Yeah, so it's not a small distance. So again, it's not like super, Navy SEAL over the horizon 1 mile. Which there have been 1 mile shots, but they're rare because of so many factors. But in this case, to make the shot, you had to be an A to A, A minus at least shooter to make the shot. This is not an amateur, and so I just question the whole thing and this idea that there's a network. Well, if there's a network, then to Chris's point, maybe he's a patsy. I don't know.
Well, let's put it this way: a guy like that cannot work alone. We already talked about the Butler kid. It sounds like it's impossible. The question is, though, now, if they are covering something up, if they are trying to hide something deeper and more sinister than that, why would the FBI, at least this administration's FBI, want to cover that up? I can understand why the last administration's FBI wanted to cover it up, but why this one? What are they afraid to tell us? Well, sorry, excuse me about that. That's my lack of water this morning. Anyway, makes me sound more like, well, it does help me do my Sling Blade impersonation. It's like, you shouldn't do that. He's just a bar. Gonna get me them French fried taters. Anyway, the idea is there's been proof that at least 6 people, radical leftists, of course, knew in advance what was going on. But these shootings, these things that have been happening from the transgender community and from fringes around that, there's a pattern here, and we're talking about the several against children at religious schools or religious institutions, and now this one with Charlie Kirk. You had the one somebody's talking about. You had one of the people talking about September 10th. Somebody associated with Robinson talking about September 10th. Something big's going to happen, and I also read that one of these Weisenheimers discussed the idea that December 14th will be the day for Donald Trump. Now, I haven't overly verified that, but I've read that a few times. There are some problems here. There is a sophisticated network, and I believe the FBI is trying to hide that from us. Again, I might be going out into a hole or a limb, but what are your thoughts on that, Booker and Tony?
Yeah,
well,
Booker,
I would say, I would say this. I don't know that they're hiding it from us right now. I don't know that they would want that information out in the public domain. And I have seen reporting on a very elaborate organization within the trans. It's almost underground. We don't see it. We don't know it, but they are very organized. And go back to what Kash Patel said Monday morning on Fox and Friends when he talked about an email that he had sent that was destroyed. It no longer exists, but they found it forensically, that he said that he was about to go do this. Who was that sent to? Because it was not sent to his roommate, the trans lover. It was sent to somebody else. We don't know who that person is yet. Is that person connected with the greater organization? And we also saw that the Democrat Socialist Party, an outfit there in the Utah area, took down their website as well, which they have said that he was associated with them in some way.
Oh, get this, Booker. I was reading the NBC's fact checks on this. They did the token fact check that obviously Tyler Robinson wasn't a right winger. The question, when they tried to fact check, he wasn't a member of the Democrat Socialists. You know where their source was the communications director for the Democrat Socialists who said, "No, we don't have a Tyler Robinson in our rolls." That meant nothing. But this again is what I talked about when it came to, well, several things. I will go back again to the David Muir debate, for the presidential debate this year with David Muir. They call up a Democrat official or somebody associated with a Democrat group's communications department. These journalists say, "Hey, is this true or is it false?" And whatever that person says, they take as the word of God without
of course.
investigating. They think Democrats and leftists are always telling them the truth.
No, they don't. No, Chris, they don't. They know.
They don't care.
Okay.
They don't care. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, go back.
They actually want you to think so. How about that? Is that better? Right? I do think
Yeah,
some of
that's
these people are
better.
kind of dim bulbs. I'm serious. I think a lot of these news bunnies and news smiles are dim bulbs. It's the people behind them that know the truth. These dim bulbs don't.
Well, go back to the 51 intel officers that wrote the letter that said the laptop had all the earmarks of Russian disinformation. How come no one in the press asked them what evidence they had seen? Instead, everybody just ran with it.
We did.
Booker, we did. Yeah.
I'm an intelligence officer, and it's like, there's no such thing as earmarks of Russian disinformation.
Right.
The Russians have disinformation programs, which, if effective, you don't know they're disinformation programs. Duh. So,
well, as Brian Stelter's twin brother George Costanza once said, "It's not a lie if you believe it."
Yeah. So my issue was, Booker, more about the fact that we who knew they were lying were prevented from telling people they were lying. That's my issue on X, on TV. I think I was banned from Fox back then, so I wouldn't get on Fox anyway. But anyway, we were trying to get the word out because, and I know these people. I was actually at an event, the funeral for my late friend and mentor, Lieutenant General Pat Hughes, and Jimmy Clapper shows up, all lawyerless. He was like naked without a lawyer, which is not good for DC. You need to have your lawyer with you just in case someone bumps into you and you get read your Miranda. Just say it. So anyway, my point being is that all those people have been compromised to whatever you want to call the deep state. Everybody on that list. So I guess that's my next question, Chris, to you, Chris, and then to Booker. Is this a deep state thing?
It's been discussed. It's possible. And again,
I think so.
Look, it could be. It's very possible. There are so many things that could happen. But the talk of the transgender network, the talk about these kids trying to plan this behind the walls of Reddit or other internet chat rooms, that could be a very well part of this deep state initiative. Look, they find easily manipulated people.
Exactly.
And they work them to doing their bidding. Look,
Yeah.
What's his name? Lenin used to call them useful idiots. But these people, maybe some of them have skills. Some of them, they definitely have the will to do so. They may not have had the guts until somebody, maybe from the deep state, intelligentsia, if you will, just kind of types in a couple of manipulative thoughts into their brains and says, you can do this, blah, blah, blah. And they start making their little threats. Somebody stands up and does it. But they know these people are trained in how to do these things.
Well, so Red Bull brought up in the chat about the camera. So there's some interesting cameras that are high quality, have never been released. One of those is the Turning Point camera, which was looking right at Charlie. And I understand they may not want to release the moment of the shooting, but I don't know why they haven't released the before and after. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I get you don't want to be graphic, but why don't you want to have everything else out there? There's some things, just basic things to me that should be out there that really aren't yet. And it really bothers me.
Do you think it's possible that Turning Point, with a cozy relationship with the administration, with Kash Patel, maybe the FBI has said don't release it, or could that be part of it, and that they're just trying to hold it back because they think the investigation is going in the right direction?
The question, Booker, would become why? Why would you do it? Because you've already seen, Charlie buy the farm. You've already seen it over and over. It's still on there. There's endless evaluations of the shot. One of the sites was saying, he was wearing a chest plate, and it was a spur that came up off that. There's all sorts of stuff out there already. So why would you not want to actually introduce high quality detail that says, no, this is exactly what happened? I
What
don't
if
know.
their angle? What if their angle shows exactly what happens, and it happens to be what we're talking about? And
exactly.
Well, would the FBI tell them at this point, don't release that until we make our investigation? I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't have a clue.
That's what I'm asking. It's like, okay, why would you do that? Because of the Kennedy thing was that they did nab the Zapruder film. You know, they didn't want people seeing the Zapruder film because it showed a great detail about what happened, and so that was part of the cover-up. Just saying. So if we're comparing this to the Kennedy assassination, they stopped the film from being released because it showed the moment of impact, showing that he's getting shot from the front, not the back. Just saying. So, you know, I don't know.
There's also a school of thought saying the FBI doesn't want anybody waking up from the deep state or from the deep conspiracy angle here to realize who they're really investigating, to understand that.
Yeah.
It's a good chance they're investigating maybe people out of the Ziz cult, that trans cult that was that Danny No was talking about a while back, and he actually put it back up on Twitter a little while ago. There's probably
he's done a great job too.
Right.
Yeah.
He needs an award.
Right. And look at these people here who posted on the cryptic messages on whatever X or whatever else, Blue Ski, wherever they're going. But check this out. If one guy says September 10th will be a very interesting day, I guess his name is Altruage, Altilage. Then he says, I plead the 5th, the day after. Then it was Donald Trump, December 14th, in this mushy after he says, it'd be funny if somebody like Charlie Cook got shot on September 10th. Somebody knew something. And these were, I believe, leaks from discussions on the internet, in the bowels of one of these chat groups or chat rooms or something like that. And I'm hoping that the FBI is keeping some information from people only because they don't want anybody tipped off onto who they're really investigating long term. But again, hope springs eternal as well. And Occam's razor says, as many people have brought up before, the simplest solution is the easiest. The fact is, this kid couldn't have worked alone. There's absolutely no way this one kid could have worked alone. As far as the evidence is concerned, this was a team effort. So let's see who's behind this. But look at all this. You guys have big news coming soon. Just be sure you check the news. You'll know it when you see it. So people knew it. You know, Charlie Kirk is going to my college tomorrow. I really hope somebody evaporates him literally. Let's just say something big will happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
People knew. It was already planned. Yeah. And this is where the investigation is going.
I think with these guys, the shooter and all of these people that you're showing, their ideology doesn't take much to have someone in the deep state or the administrative state to wind them up and point them in the right direction. That's all it takes is a little.
Let me point out something that's obvious and people may not want to talk about. We have such massive surveillance of social media. This would have been detected by one of the government systems. There's no doubt that some system we have, I don't want to say much more than that, would have detected this chat, that all this stuff we're seeing, it would have been detected beforehand.
Just saying. Think so. You think so?
I know, Tony. Do they?
I'm kind of kidding. Does the government? I think I know where you're going here. So, yeah.
I was going to ask you, Tony. Does the government have the capability to stop anything from happening, even if they see it? Because there's so much chatter. What would they do to prevent it?
The answer is that we have employed algorithms, another form of AI, early AI, which has now been perfected, that looks for certain trigger words. All of the things we just talked about, those are all trigger words. Those would have been some of the most easy. If this was coded like an open text code, like say Rosie O'Donnell was the alias for Charlie Kirk. We're going to take Rosie O'Donnell's eggs and fry them tomorrow. It's like that, and that would have been an implication of, Rosie being Charlie, eggs being assassination. Then that may not be detected because that's kind of like, nobody cares about Rosie O'Donnell and eggs, right, Chris?
No.
I'm just saying. I know
a lot of people are having breakfast.
I used to do this for a living. And there's ways of using open text code, like in the movies. People do that stuff. People, Booker, one of the keys to being effective and being clandestine is understanding how to do things in plain sight in front of people and them never know what's happening. That's the true. So these people weren't being clandestine. They may have been secretive. That's secretive and clandestine are two very different things. So if you're being secretive and being open about the fact that you're stupid, then it was detected. The question becomes,
Tony, would the government be able to do something though? If they saw that chatter, what would be the step? Would they just tell Charlie there's a threat, don't get out there?
The answer is As a member of law enforcement, we have a strong network that shares information in real time to make sure that if an event is coming, that we figure out, we figured out there was going to be a protest here in town for our Confederate statue. I don't want to go into that. I go into that often. I'll leave that off for today. But my point being is that there was a large response that people didn't see, that we were prepared to do something if things got out of hand. I'll just leave it at that because people still don't understand how much law enforcement was ready to react. If 4 guys showed up, there was no event. Everybody was like, oh, nothing. But we were way more prepared than thinking 4 guys were going to show up. Just saying. So I think that there's indicators that someone would have been monitoring that. I mean, come on. He's Charlie Kirk's. He's one of Donald Trump's best friends. It's something is not right here.
And so if they did pick up on that chatter, then why didn't I think it's a legitimate question to ask someone in the government, did you pick up any of this chatter? And
I think it's a question I'd be asking. If I were in the room, I would ask that question. It's like, hey, you said there was a network. So did you detect any chatter in any suspicious chat group prior to Charlie Kirk's assassination? It's a legitimate question. That's one either side should be asking.
Right. And the follow-up is, if you did, then why didn't you do anything? What steps were taken to protect Charlie Kirk beyond that?
I think they're not going to say, oh, we did. They're going to say, well, we can't talk about that, which is a non-denial denial, which means yes. Then you pursue that. So just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. So I think there's some questions that our side need to be asking, hard questions. And we can't, I like Dan Bonji. I consider Dan a friend. I know Cash. We're not close, but I know Cash. You need to ask hard questions of the people that you trust, no matter what, right? I think those questions need to be asked.
Strongly agree. And again, if you really think about it, the deep state people who are still pulling some strings way behind, or at least trying to, can easily go to these internet sites, these chat rooms, and maybe put an agent or two there, a provocateur or two there, because I believe what a lot of these the deep staters do is they look at regular social media. They look at sites like they look at what's put out by people like Occupy Democrats or Vox or something like that, and find people who comment on it and push it and share it and sort of things like that. They kind of delve into them because they find that these people are easily manipulated. Find a little mental illness in there, a little radicalness in there, a lot of reactionary in there. You find those that small percentage of people who will act upon what they think, push them a little bit, and that is what they'll do. So the question is, yes, I do believe if they want to hold some information because they're trying to find a deeper network and don't want to tip anybody off, fine. But let's not lie to the public, or let's not keep lying to the public. This kid's a patsy. We want to know more about the network. We want to know more about this, especially when the evidence comes out. I also want to throw something else at you. Have you watched the Democrats and their latest strategy? They've been trying to turn the Minneapolis shooting and a couple of other recent shootings around to lie to the American public once again.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the idea is there is one thing a lot of these people do have in common. They're white males. So the Democrats' new line is beware the white male. We're the
Robert Redford just passed. Yeah, I just got that notification.
Yes, Robert Redford passed on.
By the way, if you want to check, speaking of Robert Redford, just very briefly, one of his best movies, I think, is 3 Days of the Condor. Just saying, that a lot of truth in that movie. Anyway, back to the knuckleheads today. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Right. Well, not maybe towel. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, it's Elon. I only like this person. Anyway, let's hear her talk about.
Yeah.
Let's hear. Let's hear.
He's married to a white guy. Remember, don't forget.
Well,
most of the time
not her
they
brother
are.
anymore, right? Yeah, married to a white guy, but not her brother anymore, or something like that. Anyway, let's hear what Elon Omar has to say. And this is the Democrat line. This is the commentator line as well. It's you're racist for thinking that leftists are shooting up people and all this other stuff, and it's always a white male. And yeah, technically, that's what they're trying to pull on us. Let's hear her.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. We should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men.
The radicalization of white men. Well, let's put it this way. She might be right. I have two questions for you, gentlemen. These white men are not coming from the right wing, so we already know that.
Right.
We already talked about Tyler Robinson and the furry friend of his, who possibly knew what was going on. But is she misgendering some of a lot of these school shooters who are trans? But since they're white men, now they're dangerous?
Well, I think that the issue
She get in trouble for that, right?
Masculinity is a valid one, but I think this is why the trans community is so violent. The male to female, that is to say, males who have mental incapacitation, which I feel most of the trans folks have some little mental illness. Part of that aggression is fed by testosterone. It's no doubt, but it's them, it's the left, not us.
But they're white males, and that's what she says.
Yes, but they're trans,
right? Well, she's gonna probably get in trouble for misgendering some of them. But hey, think about it. It's white liberal males,
yes,
white transgender former or whatever males, and one of them wanted to come back. And again, Booker, Tony, I think I brought this up to you yesterday. Booker, I want your thoughts on this. The transgender that killed. And we can go into the whole, because we talk about the Ziz cult and all these, and the trans mafia, if you will, the trans militia that's probably also being investigated here. Think about this: the shooter, the Minnesota shooter, had written in his journal, or it wrote in its journal that it couldn't transition back to a man because it was afraid of serious repercussions. What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, that's an indication of the cult that is that trans community and the underground that we were talking about. You know, prior to 2018, the Heritage Foundation did a study on mass shooters, school shooters, and they had three things in common. It was socioeconomics. Most of the time they were poor. They were always poor. They had a broken family, and then there was mental problems. Now, post 2018, we have these people with mental problems on steroids at this point with this trans community, and they are going to win at all costs. That's their mentality. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how many bullets they have to spend. They're going to spend them all until they get their way. And that's what people need to be aware of.
Yeah, I think it's true. And so, by the way, Chris, I just was thinking, why didn't we, do you think we need to go back and look at Smokey and the Bandit, because Burt Reynolds drove a Trans Am? I'm wondering about that now. Was there secret messaging going on back in the 70s that we didn't recognize? Maybe that's part of the problem.
Those are
I don't know.
Whistles. That's it.
It's worth taking a look at.
What did he drive in the Cannonball Run?
The Trans Am.
No, Trans. Oh, well, I thought you were talking about the other movie. Okay, yeah, Cannonball
Smokey
Run.
and the Bandit.
With
Smokey and the Bandit. Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah. I was thinking of the Cannonball Run. The
eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking, as they say, right?
Right. There we go. And Commander,
wasn't that
we're going to do
Coors
what
Light?
they say can't be done.
Wasn't that Coors Light in the truck? That's what it was about. Coors Light, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Not Elsinore.
Not Coors Light.
Yeah.
Coors. Regular Coors. Regular Coors. Yeah.
Regular Coors. That's
but
right.
it wasn't
Anyway.
Elsinore. They didn't find a mouse in the beer.
No.
That's right. Get
Anyway,
a free beer.
back to the issue of trans. I know we digress a little bit here. And by the way, I got in trouble, for those who follow me on X, which you should if you don't. And by the way, we're doing a special interview this Thursday with Catherine Herridge. She's
that's on
texting with her.
Sentinel Circle. Yeah.
So Sentinel Circle. So check it out. We're going to be talking with Catherine, my friend Catherine Herridge.
She's another one that
needs
an award also.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Brandy.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Well, we gave her an award. We gave her an award at London Center back about 8 years ago because we recognized the quality. Anyway, so Kath and I are going to be talking about 9/11 stuff Thursday, 8 p.m. Be there or be square. And anyway, back. So my point being is that a lot of the stuff that we're talking about regarding the issues of networks and trans, I think, is something worth exploring, because it's very clear that these networks establish themselves. They become essentially self-propagating. That is to say, there's no one leader. You're not going to find like the David Koresh of the trans, right, Chris? I don't think so.
No.
I mean, there's David Koresh guys out there like David Koresh, but not a David Koresh.
That person. That person is. You will find that person. Well, not technically find that person, but that person is on the internet and doing the manipulating.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, those are the thought leaders. Your influencers, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, and back when they were investigating Antifa, that was exactly what they found in all of these different Antifa places. There was no one really in charge. There was no real leader. Everybody was their own person with their own ideology.
Yeah.
Which I think would make it more difficult to stop, wouldn't it? If you have all of these people thinking the same way, going in 100 different directions, I think that would be more difficult to find, recognize, and stop them.
Well, but there's a pattern. That's the thing. So, Booker, there's a pattern to a lot of this stuff. And that's why you have law enforcement, you have algorithms. There's things like that I think that can be detected. And I think that's what I think Dan Bongino is saying they're doing right now. It's like, hey, we're going to be looking into these networks and be patient. And to your point, Booker, too, maybe that's why they haven't released all the video. Maybe there was people in the crowd, there in the crowd, who were part of the scheme that they don't want to let on that they know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
A grand investigation, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, we have 15 minutes left. Maybe we should pull on some other news. I wanted to bring this up yesterday, but there's a good Robinson out there, and his name is Tommy. And he put together a very important event in Britain yesterday. And believe me, it was beautiful, because the British people, I don't know, it took a long time, a very long time, but they're finally standing up to the government. And gentlemen, I believe the last straw, and look at this protest here. This is great. I believe there are two final straws when it came to a real British people, English people, Scottish people trying to speak out here. The idea is, we know about what the government's been doing to them. Second-class citizens now. The natives are second-class citizens. They're bringing in all these migrants, giving them all the money, five-star hotels, letting them run rampant with the crime. Two last straws. One was the tearing down of all those of the Union Jack flags, and the elimination and demonizing of the St. George's Cross flags publicly. And the other last straw was the 14-year-old girl who had to take it upon herself to draw a weapon to protect her 12-year-old sister from a filthy savage who was trying to grope her and hit on her and trying to take her. And because that's what they do in their country. And these people, these two events, I believe, finally set most of Britain's silent majority off. Thoughts?
Go ahead, Booker.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. There's only so much we can take. At some point, it's up to the people to rise up and do something about it, because government isn't going to do it for you. It never is. It shouldn't be the answer. And I think that's what you're seeing. And England is so much further gone than we are. All of Europe is. And I think they've had enough. And I don't know that it can make a difference, though, unfortunately. I don't know what you think, Tony. It may be too late to turn the tide.
Well, I always put this in context of the society that this is coming from. So the British have been very repressed. And I do mean that in a number of ways. Look at Keir Starmer, which I think Keir is on his way out the door, by the way. Keir is a very dangerously left wing. He's way more left, and his job was, and he's been doing a pretty good job of it, is to convince England that leaving Brexit was a bad idea. And this is why it's so important that Nigel Farage get back out there and say this is stupid. So I hope this is an opportunity for Nigel to step up. By the way, President Trump's going to be there this week for a state visit.
Yeah. And
it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes, because as we know, President Trump has called them out. So is J.D. Vance. So this is something that Tommy Robinson is hot, pushed. I'm glad he has. And I think it's important that they force upon the British government this ideal that, I love British society, right? I mean, who doesn't like, the St. George's flag and Def Leppard?
The Labour Party doesn't. The Labour Party hates it.
Labor is no longer Labor. Right. So I recommend you go check out my friends at Duran, Alex Cristoforo and Alexander. I always get his name. Anyway, go check out Alex and Alexander. And on the Duran, they just went over this. The Labor Party has become like our Democrat Party, the party of elites and the rich and the folks who really have no connection with the blue collar folks. Their labor has become like our Democrat Marxist elites. It's the same thing there. So Alexander Cristoforo and Mercosis. Alexander Mercosis. So go check them out in the Duran. They just did this last night. This is a great topic. See if you can find the link to their thing, Chris.
Sure.
For Alex. Yeah, the Duran. They're great. Right. Love those guys. I've been on with them before.
I'll see if I can.
What's the solution though here? What's the solution? How do you solve this problem?
Go check out the Duran. The Duran, they're great guys. Really,
right,
they really.
I'll try to pull up. Let's hear what Winnie Stormer had to say.
Yeah.
He wrote on
X. Stormer. Yeah.
People have a right to peaceful protest. It is core to our country's values. But we will not stand for assaults on police officers doing their job for people feeling intimidated in our streets because of their background or the color of their skin. Wait. So, first off, British police harass others because of the color of their skin and or if they want to say things on the internet. Britain's a nation proudly built on tolerance, diversity, and respect. Our flag represents our diverse country. No. And it will never surrender to those that use it as a symbol of violence, fear, and division. No, you, sir, are corrupting the flag and making it look like a symbol of violence, fear, and division. Yeah. And that's why the easily manipulated are tearing these flags down and painting over them.
Exactly. Booker, I have a question for you. Do you think part of the current malaise and this bad attitude of the British is caused because they have bad teeth? Do you think the bad teeth really bothers them?
I don't even think they.
I don't know. If I had bad teeth, I think I'd be constantly kind of perturbed.
I don't even think they know they have.
Rosie O'Donnell,
Yeah, I don't even think they know they have bad teeth. I think.
Yeah, they're not that self-aware, are they? That's right.
No, they're not.
Well, how about this? How about this little bag here? Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, our cool friend. This was pointed out to me by Carol Decker, who's someone I interviewed several times. She's from Tapau, so she's cool. Anyway, she posts something, a repost of somebody who put up Sadiq Khan's little speech about the protest. My thanks go to officers policing protests today. Most protests were peaceful, but a number of officers were assaulted and arrests have been made. Blah, blah, violence and attacking. Well, they point out that the Notting Hill Carnival, which, by the way, had 20 stabbings done by migrants, and he kind of forgets about that.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And by the way, we have one of our rock and roll friends, kind of a political prisoner right now. I won't mention her name. I don't want to get her in trouble. Mention that.
I'm still talking.
Yeah, no, I know, and we want to have her on when she can, when she's not in danger of being freaking arrested for coming on with us. Can you think about the insanity, Booker? Think about this. One of our cool. You'd know who she was if we might don't want to mention her. Can you imagine getting arrested for talking to us?
Well, thanks. You should have told me that before I got here.
Just don't go to Heathrow, okay?
Not you, but I'm saying she would be. I mean, but can you imagine what kind of nation you have to live in to be arrested
Well,
for talking to Chris and I. I mean,
that's where it is nuts to be talking to you guys and worry about that. But that's kind of the way we.
That's right.
I'm joking. That's kind of the way we've been in the last 4 or 5 years. We were all fearful coming through the Biden years. I looked on my LinkedIn one week and I had the Department of Justice, the FBI, the U.S. Navy, the U.S. House of Representatives. They were the top places where the people searched for me, back in, I think it was in 2022. So we kind of all went through that, unfortunately. But I think we should get back to something Tony said at the beginning of this hour that we didn't talk about. And if it's okay, what about the replacement for Charlie Kirk? He asked that question, and we really never talked about it. And,
I have an answer.
do you really? I don't.
Yes. I do.
Go ahead.
I do. And the answer is this. The right is not the left. The left needs somebody to look up to and worship. The left needs somebody to, generally, that's why they worship the state. They worship a man or a woman, a human being, celebrity, if you will, a politician, in the absence of having a God. Most people and young people who follow Charlie Kirk do not see him as the Messiah, as the left may have seen Barack Obama. That they see Charlie Kirk as somebody who says, hey guys, fellas, young people, young men, young women, it's okay to want to start a family. It's okay to believe in and love God. It's okay to think a certain way or respect your own American citizenship, despite what the media, what the entertainment media is telling you, what your college professors are telling you, what they're trying to tell you on the internet, and how you're being censored for it. It's okay. They just want somebody who can do that. And believe me, now that because Charlie Kirk was here, a lot of young people can turn to their friend group, their peer groups, and learn the same thing and say, "Hey, you know what? It's okay. It's okay to do that. We don't need a leader. Young people,
they
don't need somebody like that."
Scott Pressler, and my friend Scott's been very effective in similar space, going out and getting people to leave the Democrats and vote Republican. So Scott's been great.
But they're not. But they're not like Charlie Kirk, right?
No, I'm not saying it's the same. I'm saying that he's someone that's been effective, and I think we have to start looking at I don't think one person is going to take the place of Charlie Kirk. Charlie was a force. So
he was the tip of the spear for Turning Point. I think he's never going to be replaced that way, but maybe as the leader that he was, more people follow in his footsteps, where there are thousands that can carry on the debate and the free expression on college campuses. So that it may even be better than it was. Instead of having one person, you have thousands.
Right. But I know Ben, what's his name, wants to take his place.
Benny Johnson?
Oh, no, Benny Johnson. I like Benny Johnson, but no.
No, Ben Johnson said no because he was asked that question.
Well, that's another thing. That's another thing about the conservative side. You don't have as many.
The Daily Wire guy.
Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro.
Look,
he was like that beforehand, and he's a good arguer.
Shapiro can't do it. By the way, I'm just going on the record. I don't care if it offends people. Ben Shapiro can't. It's not gonna happen.
And he's also not a free speech icon, as some would claim he is.
He is not. He's not like a purist.
And let's put it this way: he to the younger people is old. Okay, by now, Charlie Kirk was a voice for younger people. We admire him, we like him, and we appreciate what he did, and he was great. But the fact is, he was a voice who influenced younger people. So the question is, who can keep younger conservatives?
I agree with Red Ginger. Yes, Red Ginger. Yes. He's like, have you noticed Ben Shapiro looks more and more like Dr. Mengele from The Boys in Brazil? Have you noticed that? It's true. Look at, and I've said it because I knew Gregory Peck. I actually saw him in costume when he was filming that. So I'm just saying, it's like, they look very similar there. So I don't know. No, I'm not. So don't write the show and complain. I'm not saying that Ben Shapiro is Dr. Mengele. I didn't say that. I just said
Chris and I were real quiet.
A character played by Gregory Peck, my friend.
I was thinking Tony was going to say Dr. Ishii, but that would be a little too far, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think it's interesting. So, and by the way, back to that point, Booker, there was a Washington Post female black icon editorial. She got fired over this, and she's complaining that, oh, I just took his words and quoted them. It's like, no, you didn't. She got fired because she took and misrepresented his quotes. And so that's what drives me nuts about the left, that they're now doubling and tripling down on the very lies that got people fired up to begin with. Like, okay, no, he never said gays need to go out and be stoned. I mean, it's like, please, you know, and yet they're still doing this. So,
well, they're not ever held accountable. You know,
well,
the people
apparently they are, and they're getting upset. That's my point. Is that
well, they are now.
The counterculture is coming for them, and they're upset. It's like, oh my God,
right?
It's like, oh, weren't you all against counterculture? It's like, yeah, but you set the rules up, so we got to use it now, right?
Right, correct. They've never been held accountable.
Oh, well,
it's biting them in the arse. That's right.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't think I played the best meltdown that I saw about getting fired. So I want to play that.
Go
now.
ahead.
Yesterday, I played some of the meltdowns. Booker, you missed some of the meltdowns. I'm sure you saw a lot of these on. And this is one that's been passed around. I didn't play this one, but this is hilarious, Tony.
Job. I was just fired from my job. I was just fired from my fucking job. I was just fired from my fucking job. Now I have nothing but this. I have nothing but this website. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing.
I'm not sure if this is staged or not, but it's kind of symbolic.
I think it's real.
It's just hilarious. If that's real, I can believe it. I'm not 100% sure it is, but it's just symbolic of what's been going on.
We need mental institutions.
One of the things I have noticed that the left, for whatever bizarre reason, they love filming themselves in their worst moments and putting it out there. It's like, I mean, it's like, seriously, have you seen some of the Karens? It's like, yeah, I don't think you're going to get sympathy from this. Like, there's one. There's one.
And I was fired on Friday for saying that I was having a hard time finding empathy for Charlie Kirk.
That's probably what she said.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Well, she's got dead eyes, so, you know.
And
look at those eyes.
pardon January 6th on.
Now, I want to stop it there, and this is why I played this video. You heard her say she was doxxed by a convicted and pardoned January 6th. These people are trying to equate those who are, they're trying to equate themselves to people who were doxxed by their kind and persecuted by the government because they showed up at a protest questioning the government. And to people who like her who gloat over the murder of, and I'm going to say it again, because this is the way to put it, a 31-year-old man who was shot in broad daylight in front of his wife and children, leaving two little children behind who will be fatherless for the rest of their lives, and whose last memory of their dad was that. And that's what they're celebrating. So let's keep that in mind. This is it's not the same as showing up at a protest.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. Did you see the comments Pam Bondi made about hate speech and that she was going to target them and go after them? You know, our First Amendment protects the right for hate speech. The problem is these people have gotten away with what they have gotten away with without us coming after them. And we are finally standing up.
Hate speech and incitement of violence. That's the way I look at it.
Correct.
It's like if you're inciting that, there's laws against that.
Absolutely.
And,
but my point is we are holding them accountable. You can't just say what you want to say in society as long as society is pushing back and saying you're outside the lines there. And that's what's happening this time, and they don't know how to deal with it because they haven't had to deal with it before.
One of the most, I don't know, Chris, if you have time to bring this up, but there was a candy-haired, I'll be polite, candy-haired woman from Australia. She had basically said, she did a video saying there's no reason to have empathy for Charlie Kirk dying. He was using his free speech, and you should be happy he was using his free speech, to basically criticize others. And then the moment it happened to her, I'm being doxxed. And she wasn't being doxxed. People just said, hey, look at her video. And her name is in her tag. It's like, your name is in your tag. So yeah, it's kind of in your handle. So nobody's doxing you. But she got really upset.
I saw it. I'm trying to pick it up. I do remember seeing this video. And
she was,
just
talk about tone deaf. Oh, well, it's nothing wrong because she's a psychologist, so she's, smart.
But she's not the only one. Now, she's not the only one. All these people are exposing themselves, and they put their names or their nicknames right to that. They're not doxable. They're easy to find. You can just find out where they're working.
Yeah.
It's all public record. It's not doxing. But keep in mind, Booker, Tony, these are the people. And again, it's great to see them being gone because these are the people you wanted gone from work in the first place. The people gloating over Charlie Kirk's death. On the job, first off, these are the kinds of people who would gladly swerve their car into a child before running over a chalk drawing of a pride flag. Okay? On the job, these are the same people at work who would throw you under the bus quickly if something went wrong to shield themselves from any blame. They're the quickest to exclaim, "That's not my job," when asked to help the team achieve a goal. They're constantly dodging any hard work if they show up for work at all because they're always the ones showing up late or leaving early. They go to the coffee shop all the time when work needs to be done. And they're pretty much dead wood to begin with. I'm sure a lot of their employees were looking for an excuse to get rid of them without them trying to cause legal trouble.
Yeah. So you're saying they all act like Pierre Jean-Luc Picard Pierre, right? Whatever her name is. Corinne Jean-Luc Picard.
Justin.
She had it all. She checked every box. She was black,
she did.
lesbian.
Did you know she was
immigrant.
a historic figure, according to her? I'm a historic figure.
Hey, real quick though, let me point this out. Let me point something out to you guys real quick that came to my mind last night when I was watching about Stephen and Katie Miller and the chalk that was used on their sidewalk that was used in different colors, and it made me remember what is going on in Orlando, where at Pulse nightclub, where it's been going on for weeks now. Trans are being arrested, and those in support of trans. And they are continuing to write with chalk in different colors in the crosswalk there that the city had paved over because DeSantis said, we're not doing that anymore. So I wonder, going back to our conversation earlier about a network of trans, if that is also saying something there in front of the Miller's house when I saw that the sidewalk painted with the colored pastel color chalk. But anyway, I just sort of threw that out there.
I want to start something today. I'm starting a movement. Chris, you're going to join me because I say so.
All right.
We are now going to demand. We are going to demand that pastel colors be returned only for use with Miami Vice and Miami Vice references. Right, Chris? No more. Pastel must be Miami Vice and Miami Vice only, right? That's right. The only authorized use of pastel colors. That's it.
Yes,
that's the policy.
Yep,
that's the policy.
That's right, and I'll enforce that law. We'll have our own police.
There you go.
Here we
that's
go.
right. He's going to be the enforcer.
That's right.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Yeah.
Was that a shade of pink or baby blue that you used in that picture?
First off, baby blue.
I kind of forgot in the excitement.
Yeah, baby blue's got to go for a car color too. That just had to go even before all of this.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So anyway, anyway, Robert Redford passed. God rest his soul. Another good, I liked him. I think he was a little bit of a wacky lefty at times, but I think he had a good heart. And a lot of these guys get kind of pulled into stuff. I think it'll be interesting to see what people come out and say about him over the next few days. So anyway,
we'll see. But I like The Deer Hunter. It was a great movie too. He was in a lot of great stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, we got to go. We're overtime. Booker, you got a show on America Out Loud, right? It's called Truth Be Told, right?
Yep, at 6 o'clock Eastern time, Monday through Friday. 5 days a week. So
what do you do there? Do you tell the truth?
That's the idea. I try. I do the best I can.
That's good.
And I also have the book, Artificial Intelligence, The Fight for the Future of Humanity, making the case for a 28th Amendment. It is all 5-star reviews. It's been out since July 27th. And we educate you on what artificial intelligence is, what it's capable of now, where it's going, which is super intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and then what we can do about it, which is the 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
So I got some trivia for you. I recommend you check it out. So one of the earliest popular culture references of artificial intelligence was actually in a TV series I grew up watching called Battlestar Galactica, the original, and the Cylons. And what I find interesting that the guy who created the series, not that this matters, he's a Mormon, and there's a lot of, if you go back and watch that series now, you'll see all the Mormon crumbs they put in it. I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying it's there. But what's notable is that the bad guys originally were going to be like lizard aliens, and they figured out, yeah, I don't know if that's the best thing to be chased by regarding the overall plot. So they changed it literally at the last minute to robots that were basically self-aware. So what I found interesting is that basically the Cylons, were out to destroy us. These beings that were artificial destruction. And then I found the reboot. And by the way, I love the reboot. I think the reboot is as good, if not better, than the original Battlestar. Goes through this whole concept of what is consciousness, what is AI versus, and so I think the whole idea of this is something that people need to be looking at. So, but anyways, for those who did not watch the original Battlestar Galactica, it's only one season. You don't lose anything, but go check it out. It's kind of interesting about how mankind becomes hunted by AI. And then, and by the way, Chris, did you know that the soul of Rosie O'Donnell was in the first Cylon? That's why she hates humanity so much. Did you know that?
They're about as funny as each other. So that's about it. Hey, I thought you were going to talk about the lost saucer when it came to early references from AI. So that's another story for another day.
Oh, no.
Golly.
Yeah. I think Lindsey Graham were related somewhere. Gomer Pyle. Just saying. So that's for another day. So. Well, we got to go. We're over, and then we're going to be back tomorrow, right, Chris? Tomorrow's another day.
Yep, we're going to delve into homelessness, as a matter of fact, the homeless situation, because that's part of what's going on when it comes to trying to clean up the cities as well. There's a massive homeless problem, and a lot of that extends to homeless veterans. We're going to be talking about a lot of that tomorrow with the world's foremost homeless expert. So we'll discuss all that and a lot more.
Excellent. So I think that's it. So I got to go. You got to go. We got to go. Thank you, Patriots, for being here. Booker, thanks for being here and putting up with our nonsense for the hour.
Yes. Appreciate it. I think so. Thank you guys for having me.
Good luck with the truth.
Thank you. It's not easy.
That's right. That's right. What was that? You ever watch the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe? Good luck. Thank you thanks for all the fish. That's the dolphins. Thanks for all the fish, and we're leaving. So looking for the truth somewhere else. The dolphins left Earth looking for the truth. That's why that reference was there. So anyway,
I don't know. As Cartman would say, if dolphins were so smart, how come they keep getting caught in those fishing nets?
That's true.
Right.
That's true. So we'll talk more about homeless dolphins tomorrow, right, Chris?
Yes.